Hey there, planners. Today I'm going to be updating my monthly goals, statusing how things went in August, and setting up monthly goals for the month of September in my Cultivate What Matters Power Sheets Goal Planner. So go grab your planners and let's get planning. All right, so to start with, I just want to take a look at the month of August and kind of take inventory. How did I do? My priority for the month of August was renewal and really just kind of getting back into things, regrounding myself. I took a little bit of a break in July for summer and, really enjoying time off and vacations. And my goal for the month of August was to, reinvigorate, get ready for the end of the year, the school year for my kids, kind of the activities I have going on through the end of the year to really be able to close out my annual goals successfully as I look to the last, third of the year. So I feel like I made great progress on my goals. So one of my major goals and really foundational to everything else I wanted to get done this month and for the rest of the year was to finish setting up my faith journal and complete my August scripture reading plan, and I did that successfully. I also had that as a daily goal for Bible journaling, and I did that successfully. So I recently shared a video on my faith journal setup. I hope you'll hop over there and take a look at that if you're interested in learning more about it, and let me know if you want to see more monthly setup videos and hear me talk about that again in the future. I had some other goals that some of them changed. Some of them I made okay progress on. So I have, for this channel, I have a goal around really growing a community here and kind of laying out a path for how I want this channel to grow and what I want this to become. I have a specific project that I'm working on that I'm keeping kind of secret. I'm calling it Project Echo. And I had a goal for the month of August to outline that project and really get kind of foundational information set around it. I got about a little over halfway done with that. So I still am going to have to continue to work on that in the month of September, but that's okay. I really dug into that and I like the progress that I made, so I don't feel bad about that at all. I had a goal from a family perspective to really get set up for our trip to Italy that we were supposed to be taking in October, and we made the decision as a family. It's not just my little family, but some extended family going as well, and we made the decision that it's just still not the right time to travel overseas. With everything that is going on in the world and with COVID, we just decided it's not the right time. So we actually switched up that trip, and we're taking a different trip that will keep us in the U.S. And not have to go overseas and worry about testing 72 hours before travel, all of that stuff. So I will have some goals for the month of September to very quickly pivot because that brand new trip that we're taking is coming up in October as well. So I've got a lot of stuff to get done there for the next month to kind of pivot to the new trip. And then I also had a goal to start scrapbooking, to do one page in a traveler's notebook scrapbook, and I got one page done. So you know what? I'm calling it a huge success. One page is really not that difficult in a traveler's notebook size scrapbook, but I just needed to kind of break the barrier and get some momentum going, and I do feel like I did that. I wanted to create a weekly exercise plan. I did create that, and I actually successfully executed it for most of the month. And then I also wanted to kind of track sugar cheats and sugar intake in my daily planner, and I did that sporadically, not as consistently as I should have. So I did okay on that one. So overall, I'm really happy with the progress that I made. I do feel like I met my intent of really prioritizing renewal and regrounding and getting set up for the rest of the year. So now I'm ready to flip over to September. All right, so here's my blank September attending list. I have my encouraging words section, priorities, monthly actions, weekly actions, and daily actions. I am going to start with encouraging words. For me, that's always scripture. I always do some brainstorming ahead of this, so I have some ideas jotted down for the types of things that I want to focus on this month. And I kind of keep a brainstorm list running all month long. I do this in my everyday planner. in my brainstorm section. You can see that set up in my monthly setup. I'll leave the monthly setup video link down below. But I keep a running list, and then as I get to the end of the month and I'm getting ready to set up goals, I kind of look over the list and think, what is, from a spiritual standpoint, what is it that I need to really be thinking about? How do I need to be approaching this month? And that always equates to my encouraging words and my priority. So I'm going to go ahead and write those in, and then I'll come back and talk about them. All right, so here is my encouraging words of the month. This comes from Colossians 4:2, and it is devote yourself to prayer, being watchful and thankful. And some other interpretations of this, this word are to be alert, to be awake and thankful. And so that leads to my priority, which is to be alert to God's leading. As I am going into September, I am really focusing on a few things that are like foundational steps for the year ahead, 2022, also to successfully close out this year. So there are many paths that I can take to do those things, and I want to make sure that I am really grounding what I'm doing in prayer and being very alert to the direction that myself and my family are going in certain areas, which I'll talk about as I go through some of the goals that I'm setting up. So that is my encouraging words and my priority for the month of September. All right, so now let's get to monthly actions. My first monthly action is a continuation from the previous month, and that's to continue work on outlining Project Echo, which is an effort for Planning Annie. And I wish I could tell you more about it, but I'm still so early. It's just not quite time. So I'm going to capture that. And I'm capturing that as just continue Project Echo work because I realized, based on my goal in the month of August, that this potentially is going to go on for several months. So I don't want to block myself in too much and be unsuccessful in completing the goal when this really could carry on more and more. And this is one of those items that I was talking about. This is very foundational work for the future of this channel and the community that we're building here. And so this is a place where I want to be very rooted in prayer, being alert to, what God's leading is here for my life and for this channel. So that's one item. The next item is related to this channel as well, and that is I want to go ahead and lay out all of Q4, the fourth quarter of the year, the content that I want to bring to you all. So it's an exciting time. It's when the holidays occur. It's when we're really thinking about planner season for next year and goal setting and, what planner systems do we need to get us through the next year? What have we learned from this year? So I'm super excited about just kind of going through all of that process with you all. So I'm going to make sure to have a lot of thought, be alert to what God is leading me to bring to this channel, and capture that here. All right, next up is a very exciting one. This is the month of September is when we are really going to get serious and start sending in applications for college for my oldest daughter. And, we've done a lot of prep work. We did a lot of college visits this summer. We've done a lot of research. We've made a priority list and, reprioritize them and pros and cons list. And now it's time to really pull the trigger and start sending out applications. And I cannot think of anything that requires more prayer from me during this time because, I really, it's my daughter's decision. She's become a young woman, and I want her to make the best decision possible. I want her to be awake and alert to God's leading in this area. I want to be awake and alert to how I can support her in this decision, and really just ground myself in where God is taking her in her next step, which is so exciting. I'm almost getting emotional talking about it, but that is definitely a goal for the month of September. All right, the next item also related to a family goal is to pivot to this new trip that we're taking. So, it's going to be a great trip. It's not what we had originally planned. We're not going to Italy, but I still think it's going to be a really good trip. But given the last minute kind of pivot here, it does require some planning. And so I really need to get a game plan together about, what all we need to do to be ready to go on this trip and make the most of it. And then the last item I have for my monthly actions is super exciting. It is time to start thinking about goal setting for 2022. And September is typically the month that I will do that in. And I actually have a pretty formal personal goal setting process. I have a pretty formal work planning process for, business planning, things like that. And I have shared that in my work setup video, so you all can go check that out. I'll leave it linked down below. But this goal is really about my personal planning, what I want to accomplish, how I want to structure goal setting for next year. And I do believe I'm going to be making some changes. And so I'm excited to bring you all along with me on that. But just as I'm even getting into the process, I always really have all of my goal setting rooted in prayer and scripture and where God is leading. So again, this is an area that I really start with prayer before I even write the first thing down for 2022. I spend time praying about it. So that is going to be a goal for the month of September as well. All right, so those are my monthly actions for the month of September. Now I'm going to flip down and talk about some of the weekly actions. All right, for weekly actions, I have two. The first one is I really want to, and this ties back to my health goals, I really want to get a good sort of bank of weekly meal plans for game nights. So we are in the throes of volleyball season. Right after volleyball season wraps up, we have basketball season starting. And so just thinking about all of that travel and, late night games in the weeknights, it really does impact how I meal plan for the family and how I make sure we're eating healthy. And my little athletes are staying at their top performance. And so I want to make sure to have good weekly meal plan options for game nights that are healthy and also convenient. Fast food is not a great option. And sometimes it's easy to fall into fast food because, you're coming home late. But I think there are some great healthy options that I can have ready and available. I just need to sit down and think through what that list looks like. All right, and my second weekly action has to do with my home workspace. So this really ties back to, creating that long-term strategy from a career standpoint. I am going to be somewhat permanently working from home, at least on a hybrid type basis. A lot of companies are doing this. My company is doing this as well. We've been working remotely for so long now and have proven that it can be successful, that we're actually incorporating a hybrid model. And so that means the space that I have been using for over a year and a half now is actually going to need to be somewhat permanent. And there are things that I can do in my workspace to make sure that I am comfortable and, the most productive, that I have hesitated to do because I didn't think this was going to be permanent. Now that I know it is going to be permanent, there are some things I need to do. I need to kind of rethink how it's set up. What equipment could I potentially benefit from? Like I am really wanting a stand-up desk to be able to get on my feet and, things like that. So I just want to sort of map out a game plan for how to take this temporary workspace and make it a more comfortable, effective, productive, permanent workspace. And the way I'm going to do that on a weekly basis is I am going to make a master list of, things that I want to get done, either, organization, kind of putting a strategy together for how to set it up. And then I want to have at least one action a week that I am taking to execute on that plan. So that is the weekly element. All right, for daily activities, I really only have one this month, and that is that I want to continue to track my Bible journaling on a daily basis. It's really important to me to, make sure I'm reading and studying the scripture and journaling. And when I say journaling, I'm really just writing out my prayers. And, that kind of goes along with my priority and my encouraging words this month. So I want to make sure I continue that for the month of September. All right, so there's a look at my total list for the month of September. I'm going to throw in a bit of decoration so that it's fun to look at as I leave this out on my desk, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. All right, so there's my goals all decorated, ready to set on my desk and track my progress to. I am excited about this month. I'm excited about this month of September being the month that I start to think about next year. I'm excited about bringing you all along on that journey with me. I would love for you to Goal plan with me. Are you thinking about goals for 2022? How do you start that process? When do you start thinking about it typically? And is there anyone who would like to kind of come along on the journey of 2022 goal planning with me? You do not have to have the same goal planner I do. I'm all about the process, regardless of what the actual physical tool is that you use. So I would love to hear all your comments and questions down below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to Planning Annie for more content like this. And as always, thanks for planning with me.